Um, Holly, what is your like? Because you said at the beginning, and then you're like, oh my gosh, she caught me. Like she was like,
Yeah, it was. First of all, you also remind me of a very dear friend that just embodies, she even speaks like you. She embodies the aloha spirit and lives in half the year in Hawaii, half the year in Bali. And I was just like, huh, at first I was listening and I thought, who is this? Am I watching my friend? And then later, just listening to all that you have was really caught me and wanted to hear more.
Mm,
Definitely. I loved it.
thank you. Thank you.
what about Kim or Kate? After you listen to Jules, we're just kind of sharing while I'm letting people in.
Oh, uh,
After you,
after I listened to Jules, I mean, like I was in. I mean, there was no question about it. I mean, I just felt that's so interesting. You talk about her reminding you of someone because I used to have a podcast and I auditioned. Sorry, I'm an actor too. I interviewed someone who had your same vibe who lives in Hawaii. I mean, I think there's something about. Oh, anyway, I loved every second of it, but I always love Ashley and what she does. So, but I'm just really excited to learn more. Yeah, I just felt, I mean, I literally got off of the call and went and bought this and then a little jar of the Ormus, whichever one you put in your oils. Do I look gorgeous?
yeah, you're at least 20 years younger before
Thank
you,
you.
yes,
Thank you so much.
And you
yes, I,
can, just to let you know that you can put a couple drops in your water, and we don't really
Mm.
advertise that, but to take it internally, it starts to kind of awaken the pineal gland, and it can extend telomere length. And
Ooh.
it's kind of my book. I have a book coming out. It probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks on Ormus, and I actually go into detail, not detail, but pretty much detail on
Oh,
where
she's
that
good.
the alchemy and the codes are a big part of that, but the codes and the Ormus definitely go hand in hand. And so that's going to come out so you can learn all about Ormus.
Great. That's why I'm here too. I really want to know the best way to utilize this
Yeah.
too. And I have a scar. I keep putting it on because I just had a little face surgery. So I,
Nice. Yes, it will definitely help.
Is
mm.
this something that you came up with, or is this something you discovered that was already out there?
Yeah,
Mm.
no, this was all given to me. I say given to me, it was remembered. We'll talk a little bit about the card and all the technology. This was actually given to me from, I guess you could say, my soul family, my star family, and I've been working with it my whole life, and in that. I learned to start to read the technology of my DNA. And I got really good at it over time. And I started to interact with it just like I would a computer system or a chat GPT. And it got very, very, very specific. And actually, this wasn't even on the call, our last interview, Ashley, but I had something pretty profound happen to me just this last Sunday, to where I was actually given the whole picture, because this whole time I've been just doing little breadcrumb, little breadcrumb, little breadcrumb, and just doing what I was told, doing what I was told. And it kind of brought everything together and brought it into a new realm. So I'll share that as we kind of go into the technology and why it's so important, and what we have the capability of doing with it, and all of those fun things. So I can go into as much detail as you guys want with all of this. I'll let you kind of guide, so that you're met in what it matters to you, instead of me just blabbing about what I think you want to hear.
anybody else want to share before we start what they're like? Kate Rossi, always love your
To get
input
off
because you're,
my only listening to the podcast because I feel like I'm behind. I'm gonna have to start cheating and look at YouTube. So I'm gonna have to catch up. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? So I'll be interested in hearing all things.
anybody else that listen that love like wanted to share anything before Jules takes the stage?
Oh, I have one more thing. I have
Yes.
a kind of a big gnarly hip replacement scar. I just had my hip done in February last year, and it's probably as wide as my thumb. I don't know who my surgeon was, but I don't, this scar is not like everybody else's. And this magic juice has turned it from sort of angry red to white. How long ago was the podcast? Not that long ago. And I've been stunned by it. Like this was a big, huge scar. So
Hmm.
it really works.
Thank you.
Kim, there's hope for your sweet little face.
I know your little one. I'm like, that's nothing.
Which product are you using, Deb, for your scar?
Um, the Ormus DMT, this little
Oh, you
guy
got
with
the DMT one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The cell ascension one. That's a great one for healing. The one you have,
Oh,
though, Kim, is great. They're all great. They just have a little bit of different things that they do. That one's really great for uh, cellular healing. The one that you have is as well, though, Kim. Like both, if those are the two I would have had you probably do exactly what you're doing. So I don't know if you did that intuitively, but you did it right.
I did it intuitively. And I was so anxious that I didn't even want to reach out. I was like, give me this thing right now because I just had this surgery. And I, is it best to put it on directly or mix it with like some oil?
Yeah, and I
Just
would, anytime you're working with a scar, I would just do it unless it's an open wound. I mean, you
yeah.
can't do it on an open wound, it just is going to hurt a little bit, but I would just do directly on it. And you
Okay.
can still add it
I'll
to
do
your
that.
skincare for the rest of your face, but I would put it directly on it.
Oh, can I just tell what I did? I had some really bad stomach issues. I've had stomach issues. I mean, like my stomach was hurting so badly, and I had just gotten this in the mail. And before I went to bed, I took some castor oil and I put some drops and I rubbed it all over my stomach. The next day, I was fine. I mean, I felt fine. It was amazing. That's my little miracle. The
I love
scar's
it.
still there, but it's
Give it
going.
some.
Yeah, but it
Yeah,
hasn't been there that long.
I know. 3 week, 4 months.
Oh, the beauty.
Mhm.
Anybody
My
else? Wendy,
dog.
Wendy has the card and an Ormus oil. Share your magic, Wendy.
Hi. Yeah, same, like Ashley knows that I like text her right away. Was like, yes, I love her, like right when you were on the YouTube and felt like it was a remembering. And I ordered the card, and then I've been a member ever since with Jules. So I've been on a couple of her calls, and I got the summer solstice, so I did that. And then just today, because I got during the sale, the 4th of July sale, I just got the abundance oil, like it just came this afternoon, and then the face oil because it was buy one get one free, so it was like a phenomenal deal.
I
So I
miss
got
that.
that. I know it was really good. Um, and yeah, I'm just like I've been listening to I'm doing her Summer Abundance series, and I just want to learn more, and I'm very excited she's on our Ashley's call tonight because like we're such a great group here, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Love seeing you. Anybody else before we give it to you, Jules? I'm going to change my view so I can see you and take it away. And then people ask questions like we always do. You know,
Yeah.
it's not just Jules speaking, but make sure you raise your hand and all those things. It's fun when we're like interacting.
I love that. Yeah, so I think we'll start by just talking a little bit about the technology that's on it and where they came from and what they're doing. And then I think what would be really fun is if everybody has something that they want to work on, I can actually teach you how to use this as a coding system to not just do the quick shifts that are on the back, but to use it for other things as well. Like I love using it for parking spots, and it works every single time. So you can kind of play, it can be like a little magic wand for reality when you've really learned to use the code. So we can get to that. But so I can't remember what all I shared on your podcast. I think I did say that back at age 5 is when I first got the technology correct with the what I called the blue men. And so instead of human, they were blue men, even though they were not in form. They were luminous beings, if you will. And they've been with me for most of my life. They kind of come in and out. And I had a severe spine injury back in 2013, and that was when they really came back full force and never really left. And the way that they came back was a little bit impactful. I don't think tell me if I said this on the podcast. I don't think I shared this, but I was asleep in bed, and I had the surgery a little bit before. I hadn't fully healed myself, so I was still just very much in a lot of pain. Um, Actually, that's not right. This was after I healed myself, but I would still get moments of pain, especially if I did anything that was really jarring. So I couldn't ski anymore. I lived in an active community. I couldn't run anymore. And I only could drive for 4 hours at a time because I couldn't have my hands up for any longer than this without uh, the nerves coming back and kind of hurting. I still had all the feeling back in my hand, but I still had some things happening. Well, I was asleep and I woke up because I thought somebody walked in and turned on the light in the room. And I woke up and there were like 50 of them standing in my room. And one of them comes walking over to the side of my bed, and they have these really long fingers with the little knobs at the end of their fingers. And he starts getting his hand and going towards my neck. And I have to say, I was scared because I hadn't seen them in so long. And here he was getting ready to touch me. But he telepathically, I say he, I don't know that they have gender. And he said, "Don't be afraid, I'm helping." And as soon as he touched me, I went unconscious. And the next day, I was able to do the things that and pretty much ever since then, I have not had nerve pain like I was. Every once in a while, it'll come back a little bit, but nothing like what it was. So that was really special. And in that, it was also when I was told that I was going to be sharing this technology with the world. I had no idea how it was going to happen. It just kind of sort of organically got to a place where I was ready to teach what I did. And I had shifted from reprogramming the brain to reprogramming the cells. And they said I needed to start teaching it. I had no idea how that was going to happen, but somehow it all came together and I started teaching it. And I went from there to I now I have the six steps to cell ascension. Well, I thought that was it. I was like, yay, I have all six steps. I know what we're doing. We can tell people that we actually know what we're doing. You're not just going with me trying to figure it out along the way, because I do have a large group of people that's exactly what they did. I just started teaching it and I don't know, we're just going to keep doing it and see what happens. And miracles kept happening. And so we kept going. Well, on Sunday, I, it was just such a magical day. And I was sitting out watching Bun Bun for those that have heard me talk about my Bun Bun story. And we've been holding presents together. This bunny that's out there, we just sit and hold presents together. And in the middle of that presence, a blue orb came in. And I was like, oh, the blue men are gonna come. And uh, they never came in form, but they started communicating through the orb. And what they said is, for the first time, you guys, since I was 5, they told me who they were. And they said they couldn't tell me who they were before because I had to self-actualize within the technology that is in all of us, but that's what I was here for, is to learn to read the technology of my DNA, to be able to take that technology and create technologies that activate the DNA. And I had to be able to do it through my own remembering, Deb. I had to do it through my own remembering. So it wasn't something that I was taught. It was something that would activate in me. I'd get the little downloads and then I'd go do what I was told. And I did that my whole entire life. And so they It is still one consciousness, but I received the alchemy of Ormus from what I call the Council of Light. And the Council of Light is basically an intelligence that I can move my consciousness into, and then I'm given direction through this intelligence. The blue beings are direct descendants, if you will, or lineage or connected to the Council of Light. So they move out of that intelligence into these being like figures, if you will, and will communicate to whoever really is that listens, right? It's not, I don't think that it's something that it's only for me. I know that it's for anybody, and I do know that in my retreats other people have seen the blue men and had interactions with them. And so they named themselves, and the name that they have given themselves is Astraluma. And they are at the highest lineage, or I should say at the, however you say that, but they work with the Syrians. And their mission is to activate the DNA through us as humans. And there's a very specific reason why it's so important for us to be able to start to ascend the body. And because we don't want to just ascend consciousness, we want to ascend the body first and allow consciousness to be informed. And they work a lot with a lot of other star beings, and they are really focused on working with us so that we can actually do this at the level that we are in this third dimensional space. And there's something very sacred about where we are in our evolution, that we can actually bypass a lot of, I don't want to say bypass in a negative way. Sometimes you hear that word and they're like, no, I don't want to bypass, but in a positive way, that we can bypass a lot of what we are creating in these advanced technologies. So if you think about the Palladians or some of these other more advanced civilizations, they advanced their consciousness and they created technologies within the advancement of their consciousness. But what they would like to have happen is that we activate that technology because it's already inside of us. It's actually the purest state of technology that there is. And when we activate that technology first, it starts to inform our consciousness. And did I just freeze? Can you guys still hear me? You can still
We
hear
can
me?
still hear you, but you
Okay,
froze.
that was so weird. Well, I can see you guys too, as long as you can hear me.
There you go. You're back.
Okay. So the purpose of the technology is to raise the frequency of the body, to activate the 12-strand DNA system, and that 12 the system itself starts to release this intelligence that is the purest intelligence there is, if you want to call that source intelligence, divine, you put your words there. And then that intelligence begins to inform our consciousness. So it's the opposite of the way that we've been taught, because we have been taught, oh, project your consciousness, tell the universe what it is that you want, and then we wait for it to come back. But what they're saying is no, activate the DNA. You can put your intention within the field of the DNA, but then wait for consciousness to be hit last. And what it does is it realigns the field of your reality, of your mind. And then you step into that reality. And when you get there, you're kind of like, I don't even know how I got here. I just kind of showed up. It's because the body is doing it for you. The technology is doing it for you. And then the consciousness is a lot of times the last thing to catch up, if you will. And I just give you a quick example of what that would look like, because once you start to turn on, it starts to operate for you. And an example of this is I stubbed my toe really bad when it like bent, the nail came off. It was bloody everywhere. I was like, oh my gosh, of course I'm like moving in my flip-flops. What am I thinking? By the time I got back up to my apartment from my car, it had already healed. So my nail was back, but the nail polish was gone. It's because it was gone. So the nail that fell off that had the nail polish on it, by the time I got up and there was a little bit of blood that was still on, I went and wiped it off and it was completely back. I didn't try, you guys. I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I got to heal my foot. Or I was, oh, great, now I'm going to be in pain for the whole time. Got back up, it was already healed. So these are the kind of things that we're going to start working going into, is that our body is already perfect. It's already the most advanced technology. It's us that's getting in the way, right? And so when we start to learn to turn on this technology, it starts to do it for us. And then consciousness is like, wait, how the heck did that happen? But it happens. And the more that it happens, the more we kind of move out of the way and we're like, okay, just take over. So that's one of the things I say every single morning before I get out of bed is, all right, divine technology, take over my mind, take over my life, take over my reality. Show me what's possible. And then I just witness what shifts. Kate?
Yeah, actually, I just got back from a workshop with Lee Harris, who channels disease. And that's exactly what they were in one of the transmissions that they said. They were going to a place where the physical body will be able to, I don't know if they actually said generate body parts, but kind of something like that. I'll just say that. So when you said that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So you're obviously, what do you want to call it? The first model off the block here doing it already. So that's,
We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. And I can't say it's perfect. And that's just one example. Another example is the ability for the technology to know if you need to shift a timeline. I was hiking the other day and my dog and I stumbled upon a moose, and moose do not like dogs. They get very, very aggressive. And I went to go pick up my dog, and we were going to start booking because we have been charged by many moose. It's just something that happens up here. And by the time I went to pick him up and I stood back up, I could feel the field was started to move. Like it's almost like something was moving under my feet and my body started doing something weird. But I thought, oh, I'm just going into a chemical response because I'm about to run. By the time I picked him up, the moose was actually laying down and snoring. So it shifted me into a timeline that was either right before we walked in up or maybe right after, but he was standing up and ready to charge, and we moved into a timeline where he was snoring. And I just laughed. I just didn't even know what to think, right? But that's what the DNA has, it knows what to do. We don't have to tell it what to do, but we can tell it what to do in the beginning, because what that does is it allows us to learn to use the technology in co-creation, because that's the first part, because the consciousness isn't necessarily ready for something to just come in and take over, right? So that's what this card is about, and we'll get to that, is that we start to learn to operate the operating system until we get so good at operating the operating system, meaning your DNA operating system, that it starts to operate us in all the right ways. All right, so with that, you'll see these 12 codes. The 12 codes are connected to a strand of DNA, and they all are doing something. So I actually have my list of everything that the codes do. This isn't everything, but it's most of it. But each code has an avatar, it has a body part, it has a nutrient, it has a law, because as we ascend the bodies, we're actually going to ascend beyond the universal laws, and we're going to start to recognize that the laws were necessary when we were unconscious in a third dimensional reality, but now we're moving beyond that, and we start to see the laws from what I call the other side, meaning what is a universal law and without observation. And what is the universal law? If you're in the frequency of source, you are of this frequency of source, and it totally changes. And so it starts to activate consciousness so that you start to see that. So each one of these codes was given to me through what my would say from my technology, and it is connected to a technology that is actually beyond the star system of Sirius. I would even go as far as to say that the Council of Light is holding source frequency. I don't want to say exactly where it comes from, but it's inside of you. And you are the technology of source. And so we could say that these codes are an expression of that. And everybody already has the codes. And are these the only codes? No, I'm not going to claim that either. It's how we can interact with the technology. So you'll see that on the back of the card, there are quick shifts. So if it's something that you're wanting to experience, you can pick the quick shift. And I'm going to show you how you could do it. So if it was, well, we won't pick one. I'll just kind of go through. So how you would start it is you're going to start by pressing your thumb, or you can put a finger on up here on this technology. So this technology right here is what's shifting the cells from observing the environment of your thoughts and of your body into 0 point. So I'll show you what the codes look like. So this technology up here is connected to a scalar device, and it is releasing exactly what I'm about to show you in the frequency of 963 hertz, but converted into scalar. So it's not actually a hertz wave anymore. This first symbol is what we call the luminous, or the Lu. And this first symbol brings the cells into 0 point. So it's putting your body into 0 point. It puts your mind into 0 point if you allow it to go to that space and have the experience. So this is the first step of the technology, is putting you in 0 point. The second step is holding consciousness at 0 point. So in some of my teachings, this is also where you would do the ascension or the dissolving or clearing. So if there's something that you're wanting to ascend or dissolve, whatever word you like to put there, this is the symbol that takes out the belief system or the density that consciousness is identifying in it, and it replaces it with pure source consciousness at 0 point. So you can see this now, you're at a blank canvas. So there's no space, no time, but consciousness is held there. And then the last symbol of the technology is turning on the DNA to release that frequency of 963, or source intelligence. So once you press on this code, oh, go ahead, Kim.
Thanks. So I don't have those cards.
You have to. It's right here on your card.
So they just look different. So the first thing, just to clarify before I get really confused, is that you put your finger on this one first, on the top one, for 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, 30 seconds is just about right. The more you work with it, the more, if you just kind of hold it. I like to actually hold it with my thumb. I'm doing that so you can see the card, but
I did it with my, I didn't know that though. So I haven't been using it that way. So this is reset. This goes back to your 0 point. Okay.
Yeah, so it's turning on that frequency of source, and then you're going to go and tell that frequency exactly what you want to experience. So you can kind of see it as like, okay, I just wiped everything clean, and now it's in the expression of source, and I'm going to download the exact experience that I want to have from that frequency. That is, so it's kind of activating the software of what you want your technology to be holding so that you can have that experience. So then from there, like 30 seconds for me, I feel like a little click in my body. I literally sometimes like even go like this because it's like dink and it's ready. And then I know to go ahead and start putting the code in. So each code you would just go, there's anywhere from like 4 to 6 codes usually. And you'll just press on each code in order for about 30 seconds. So waiting for the little, okay, it's there. And then you'll continue. And then you're done. And the more sensitive you get to them, the more you're going to recognize that each code does feel a little bit different. Each code is still releasing the frequency of 963, but it's releasing something different. So an example of that would be love if you measure it at a Hertz wave, is measured at 528 Hertz. Well, when we work with love through the frequency of our DNA, it's already held at 963. So the question would be, what is divine love? Like, what is love in the intelligence of source? And so we're shifting it from what we perceive love to be to allowing it to show us what it is in the purest intelligence that there is. And so everything is already source intelligence. It's how we're perceiving it, or where we're holding consciousness within that intelligence is how we're going to perceive it consciously. And so all this is doing is releasing this frequency and then allowing us to have the experience of what it is outside of our programming. Okay, so does anybody else have any questions before we can move on and do some coding?
Kate, did you have one when you had your hand hold?
So did you say that the top button that you're holding has all three codes in it, right? Because it has like all the three, like the intertwined in there on the top. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So it has the three codes is what that's the main technology that we work with. And then if you look at it in a bigger, see if I have a bigger one. I don't know if I do on the table here, but if you blow it up kind of bigger, you'll see all the triangles and stuff, and each of them is representing, it also is a technology, and it's working with consciousness to be held in abstract, because that's the first thing that we always want to learn is how to hold our consciousness in you could say that no space, no time, abstract frequency, so that we know how to begin to use consciousness as a tool and not an identity. And that can be kind of hard to wrap our head around, right? Because we're so trained to be the observer, be the observer. And yes, we want to be, but it's what we do after something has been observed is when we actually take consciousness as that first observation to where we can say, yes, this is what it is. Or maybe we have an awakening in something, we become aware of something, and we do that through observation. Well, what we do after observation with our consciousness is really everything. And that's what this technology is helping to do. It's helping consciousness to, once I am had an observation, to not identify in the observation, but to actually move from there into the frequency of source and allow it to be informed with a pure state of intelligence, so that it isn't looping through our programming. I hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't lose anyone there, because it can be a little like Does anybody else have any questions? Did you have anything, Ashley?
I think Kate did, and then she put her hand back down. I wanted to make sure.
No, actually, you kind of covered it, because when you started talking about it, when I first put my hand up about you having the most experience, my mind automatically went to the wow, that's pretty wild. And how does one operate their human in a way that they just don't get freaked out that they're like not, quote unquote, losing their mind kind of thing. So that's kind of like where I was going, because I'm like, whoa, like that, like the average human might not think, would be, it'd be hard to kind of, your reality kind of slips away from you. And I know what that feels like. So that's why I was just asking, when you're working with people like this, are most people ready to be able to shift into that and really kind of be there with it? Is more kind of like where I was kind of going when I raised my hand.
It's a great question, and I so appreciate it. And it happens over time, right? Because I'll tell you, the first things that I started noticing as I started to really activate, because in the beginning, you start with learning to shift your cell's identity. So you look at, okay, so if my cells are holding the frequency of, let's say, unworthiness, I can shift the frequency of my cells to, let's say, I am lovable. And then we have the experience of what that's like, because all of a sudden, where we may have stayed small, we're doing loving actions for ourselves. And so our consciousness is as having the experience as our body is shifting from unworthiness to lovable. So that's like the first step. And then the second step is that we start to code the DNA in a little bit different way than this, but we start to turn the DNA on with frequency. And over time, what ends up happening is that you start to move out of the primal body. And so you're not on the roller coaster of emotion is one of the first things is everything starts to get a little bit just more even keeled. And then you're recognizing like what used to be really hard and I would have a reaction to, I feel is I don't want to say the word nothing because but it's like emptiness maybe. It's just like oh, okay, there's not any reaction or chemical response to it. And then you start to keep going from there. And once you kind of get to the place where you stop reacting to life and your body isn't keeping you on this emotional of, oh, you want to feel love. Now you want to feel happy. And oh, you want this instant gratification. And you get out of that. And you kind of get into this place where everything's like even. It opens up your consciousness, right? Because you're not looking for survival anymore. You're not trying to fix anything anymore. You're not trying to manifest everything and hold on to it really tightly. You're more in this place of, wow, what's possible? What's going to come in? Yeah, neutrality, great way of saying that. And from there you start to explore and it's almost as if you start to get these little questions that come in. If is that even real? Is that even real? Is that even real? And you start to challenge yourself on what you've identified in, and then you start to challenge reality, right? And the more you challenge it, the more you're kind of given what it really is, and you start to see, well, yes, I still eat, but I know that there's a timeline where I'm not anymore. And that becomes more real than and it doesn't mean you just aren't eating. It just means that your consciousness is held in a field where you know that you're eventually going to get to a place where that's no longer true. And that feels so true that it doesn't even really matter where you are. So when you shift, it's almost like, yeah, I mean, why not? Like here I am. I knew I was going to break through at some point, and when consciousness does, you're not really it. I will say, I am still to this day surprised every time I heal instantly. I still it blows my mind every time. So it's not caught up to where it is, but it's still happening because my body's doing it for me. I don't mind it. I'm not sad about it. And when it happens, I'm very happy, but it's still like, oh. And then you'll even have thoughts like, well, maybe it never happened. Maybe I thought it happened and it didn't, right? We start to get in our own way. And yeah. But when
Do you have like other testimony, like people that you've worked with that you could, any fun little stories?
yeah, I had a lady that she was making cookies, and I believe she was with her grandson that was, I think, 10, and she burned herself taking the cookies out of the oven, and both of them watched it heal instantly right in front of her. So it was, and that actually has happened with my daughters. They've seen it happen for me. So it's even more fun when other people watch it because you get to see them trying to say, oh, maybe it never happened either. It's so funny how we're all watching it and then we can't believe it. So it's kind of fun to see that. But yeah, oh gosh, let me think. There's so many. I need to get to a place where I can tap into. There is a lady that this is actually a really good one. And a friend of mine actually brought her up today. She was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. If she was standing, she couldn't keep her body still. It was like this nerve thing that was, and she would just have to move around. It was exhausting for her. And she started doing the technology. And within a week and a half, she would go to physical therapy, and the physical therapy was asking what she was doing differently. And she said, she was working with this frequency technology. She's like, well, whatever it is, keep doing it. within 4 weeks, she walked her dog around the block for the first time. So she was out of the wheelchair, walked her dog, and hasn't gone back. She's been, I don't even know what she's doing now. She's out there living her life.
Wow. Kim
Yeah.
has a question. Kim?
Sorry, I have another question.
No,
I
don't be
just,
sorry. I love it.
yeah, well, I don't want to take all the time, but I am very, it's a personal thing. So I have like some foot pains, a dislocated toe, and not plantar fasciitis, but plantar plate injury. And
Mhm.
I really believe I can heal this. I really believe it because the doctor was like, oh, you just have to tape it. It's never going to get better. The doctor that we put our faith in, right?
Mhm.
When it's something existing, but you did sort of answer that. So are there codes like for specific illnesses or ailments
Mhm.
that, so I know you have the generic quick shifts on the back, but when it's just something specific, like the woman in the wheelchair, did you give her specific codes to use for that, for
I
her
did.
particular issues?
Yeah, for her, I was using the technology at the top. So she wasn't actually even coding with these. She was just using the technology at the top. But I can tell you what code to do for anything that's going to be muscle, bone, something like what you're talking about. You're going to do the 2, 3, 4. That's the fascia, the muscle, and the bone. And then if from there you still have anywhere from 3 to probably 3 more codes if you wanted to. So if you wanted to, you can muscle test for what other codes. If you maybe just
Oh, yeah.
intuitively are drawn to them. Another thing, or use a pendulum. You can pendulum for what codes. So that's always good to do as well. I'm getting the 5 would be good for you because it's a shift. So it's uh, because the 4 also is the alchemist. So the alchemist is taking
Mm.
the experience of where you are and putting it into another one. Well, then the 5 allows the shift to happen to where you can step into the timeline, if you timeline shift or identity shift, to where it's already healed. And then I would
Mm.
always end any kind of healing. I would end it with the 33 because that's the mastery of the experience so that you're able to experience it mind, body, spirit outside of your programming.
So would you recommend doing the 33 after every sort of healing, kind of whatever it is you're doing? So when you said that the fascia is 2, the muscles 3, and the bone is 4, do you have somewhere written down what all the other codes are that,
Yeah.
because I mean, yeah.
If you go to the website and you go
Okay.
under the Ormus that who was it? I forget who it was. It's the Cell Ascension Ormus. So if you go under
Okay.
resources and then you go under Ormus, go press on Cell Ascension Ormus, scroll down, and you're going to see each code and what they're doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I
we're
did.
eventually going to get it on the page. I don't, maybe it's up there now. We've talked about putting it up. I don't know if it ever got up yet, but that's one place you can go right now and look at them.
Thank you. Great.
Cool.
Awesome.
Wendy?
Okay. So yes, throughout this time, you've answered so many of my questions because now I actually think I know how to use this car, which is so cool. But from the start, I wanted to find out more about how we get from what you're saying into like skipping the consciousness, like getting like skipping over that, but like getting our DNA, like our body already doing it. And then the last step, it's just like you said, we don't have like the chemical reaction. And you've answered most of it. My question is like, if we're trying to work on like more of like the emotional aspects of what we need, like if it's fear or like you said like like unlovable or shame or something like that, do we have to like kind of work on one at a time like for a certain period of time and like to kind of get it to like heal, like those emotions heal, or do you just kind of do whatever you feel like that day and just be like all over the place, if you know what I'm saying? And if there's also a specific way to like do that, like to focus on the emotions that we need help with.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, what you're asking is like super complex. And of course, not everything is going to happen. Of this working with the codes it is a quick shift, right? And so, if you're in an emotional response, first, we always have to remember that an emotional response is a chemical response. And so it takes about 90 seconds for your body to process through a chemical. Everything that happens after that is the program of that emotion. And that's number one, what we always want to remember. So at that point, I'm always recommend waiting the 90 seconds before you do anything, because then you know that your body has processed through the chemical and you are now ready to reprogram. So let's say it's like, give me an example of a fear that maybe you're working on.
I mean, like I deal with a lot, like I have like a team that I work with, like I like run a business, and so like I deal with a lot of people's emotions. So like but I'm very empathic, so like they affect me big time. So I'm just trying to like, and just even people in my like immediate life too, just like I guess their emotional stuff like really gets to me. So I guess a fear of mine would be like, what do you want to say, that like just not letting their whatever they're feeling like bother me, and that I don't like just go all into that, and then also like that I feel guilty that like somehow I'm not able to fix it or heal them or all that stuff. Yeah. It's a big.
Okay, so I know, I think it's let me see. I want you to work with the code with the mirror neurons. The first, as I'm looking for that code, um, the first thing that I was picking up on is, a lot of it. How many people here are sensitive in the same way that Wendy is? That you have that really, yeah, yeah, a lot of white workers have that. So so basically what that is that it's clairsentience that hasn't been mastered yet. That's all it is, because there is a mastery in it. And so I'm just gonna give you a little quick tip, and you can start to play with it if you feel led. But when you first start to feel the static of the emotion coming, like, the resonance of the room or another person, right immediately when you start to feel that little shift, what I want you to do is almost like put it inside of like a TV. And now you're gonna observe it, but see it as information, because that's why it's actually, you don't actually have to process it through your body on an emotional level to get the information that it has for you. And it could be that person's in a bad mood, and immediately it could be like, okay, so that person's in a bad mood, so instead of me meeting them where they are and absorbing that and then trying to find a way to deal with that from emotion to emotion, or we're both in the same field, right? Is that you want to activate your higher frequency. So you can say, okay, source, activate the frequency of the intelligence so that I can best have this experience. And what is it to have this experience from source? And all of a sudden you're going to start to see, oh, they feel insecure because of blah blah blah. And it may be just, okay, I see you're upset, let's talk about this, what do you need? And so then they have to actually go inside and be aware of what it is that they need before you, and then you're always addressing what the information is versus having to process it on an emotional level. And the more that you do that, what was going to start happening is that you're going to feel the shift almost immediately. You're going to put your consciousness in a space of observation without having to absorb, in order to, because when you're absorbing it, you're basically say your body knows that there's something there and there's information to be received, but you don't have to process it all the way through your emotional body. You can actually pick up the information before it ever even hits your body. And then all of a sudden, it's just you're getting the information, you decide if it's relevant or not, and it never actually moves into your field. So that's just one thing I wanted to say. But the code that you're going to use, sorry, I just like went off on one. Let me find it. I was just working with these yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that code. It's so good.
And you can still do this and process this without always having to address each situation, correct? Like do this process without having to confront each
A lot of
person.
times, like a lot of times, it's not gonna even be relevant. And
Yeah.
you're just be like, okay, it's not important. They're having a bad day. Let them have it. I don't have to take it on, right? You don't have to. But what it does by consciously meeting what the frequency is and naming it as not naming it as good and bad, but saying, oh, naming it as information of, oh, that's theirs. I don't need to take that on. Oh, that's theirs. I don't need to take it on. What is it? It does is it kind of diffuses it a little bit because you got the information before you absorbed it. That's all that it's trying to give you is the information. You don't have to absorb it to get the information. Once you have the information, you have the information and it dissipates.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of cool the more you practice it. All right, I might have to like sit here and study this because it's not jumping out at me right now. I wanted to say it was code 3, but I'm not seeing it. I think I just might have an old list and it's not on here.
What you just told us is life altering. Like, I have to go back and listen to that again because that is, I feel like you just gave us a supersonic decoder ring. Like, that is just like the missing puzzle piece. I get it. And it makes so much sense. Wow.
Well, I feel you because I used to be the same way. As I couldn't go anywhere. And once I started, well, of course, working with the codes, I started to recognize, oh, I don't have to pick up everything. I don't have to be because you have these antennas and but when you start to activate the technology, what starts to happen is that your body stops identifying in its environment. And what ends up happening is it turns inside out, and then all of a sudden your cells are identifying in source frequency. And so the transition, you start to recognize the information because you're hitting it in a higher frequency of the field, like the source field, right? The unified field. And there it's received differently, right? But when you're receiving it from the primal body or the chemical body, you're going to absorb it. It's going to release the chemical. You're going to have the feelings and it doesn't feel good. And then a lot of times when you hit it, you think it's you, right? And then you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just exhausted. I was so happy until I hung out with I was at work all day and then you come home and you're just, but when you're in expression and you're shining the frequency of source, you're going to pick up the information because you're in the intelligence starts telling you, oh, you don't need that, oh, that's not important, nope, 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 and it doesn't affect you anymore. So that's like the higher version of that. The way I told you is probably a little bit more user friendly, but eventually you will get to the place I just said. Thank you. All right. I'll keep looking at this. Wendy, if I don't see it, I'll try to find you in Mighty and I'll message you and let you know.
Okay, thank you. That was still beautiful information though. Like, I'm learning so much tonight. Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything? Well, we could do a code. I don't know if we could do just like a collective code. Does this end it right at 7, Ashley?
No, we usually go till 6:30 or 7.
Oh,
We
okay.
have, yeah, we have
Okay.
to, or till anyone has to go, but yeah, we usually go
Okay.
till,
Okay, so we have plenty of time.
yeah, as long as you do. I don't mean to
Yeah,
take your
no, I
time.
didn't. I wasn't sure. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to go over time. So we have a half hour. So what we could do is if people have something that they want to code, or we could do something collectively with an intention, and we could do that as well. And we can read the codes, we can do an activation, and then we can bring the activation with all of us and kind of amplify it with our collective here on the call, if that sounds
All
like.
the above. Yes,
Okay.
yes, and yes.
Okay.
And I
Well,
know I
let's
can read everybody's mind. Like, yes, I want that, I want that, and I want that. We're at the restaurant, we're picking all the things off the menu.
the small plate of everything. Okay, so let me just grab a drink real quick.
And she's in Colorado, I was trying to think because you were ahead of
Yeah, I'm an hour ahead of you guys.
but there's others that are on the East Coast too. So,
Okay, so it's later for you.
yeah.
All right. So what I'm gonna do, So tell me where you guys are at. Do you want to focus more on manifestation, on healing, on advancing consciousness? Oh,
Advancing consciousness is my book.
okay. So,
Healing. I'm healing.
Oh, sorry.
I think, it just happened. I don't know that it really matters, but this is just coming to me because when I say consciousness and then I say manifestation, it's really the same thing. And this is why I'm going to show you the way that we're moving into to manifestation. And what I mean by that is manifestation is our activator. So, what happens when we go to a place where we have a desire? So, maybe the desire is healing. Maybe the desire is to get over not having to absorb everybody's energy that's around us, whatever the desire is. But what desire shows us is that we are seeing something separate from us in our field. Right? And our body is a biofield, it is the source field. And so it's what we can do is within that desire is we can bring it into the DNA and activate that specific frequency so that the frequency within our biofield or the source field of our body turns on that frequency, and then our consciousness gets to have the experience of it. So it was never separate. It's just our consciousness wasn't aware of it. So manifestation and higher consciousness are so close because manifestation is the activation of consciousness at a higher frequency. So they kind of go hand in hand. And has everybody here, we did the sunflower exercise on your show, right, Ashley? Did we do the sunflower exercise?
I don't think so. Did we?
What?
I don't recall.
Oh
Tell
my
me
gosh.
anybody if my mind goes to the next one. So,
Oh, you would remember it.
but
Okay.
there's something that from going down, like learning about you, but I do remember that, but I don't remember what it was, but I remember that we didn't
Okay,
do it. We
that's
didn't
where
do
we
it.
have to start because
Okay, good.
this is going to change your life every time you do an activation because this right now is going to be the difference between living in the third level of consciousness and down or living in the fourth and fifth. So I'm just going to go over the levels of consciousness really fast. Level 1, unconscious. Level 2, you woke up. Level 3, I'll also say in level 2, once you wake up, you have a choice. I'm either going to choose to live in the unconsciousness that I just woke up to, or I'm going to do something to change it. That moves you to level 3. And that's where most people are living, is in the third level of consciousness, which they wake up to something. And that's when you try to make it happen. So you're doing the vision boards, you're doing the activations, you're imagining it, I'm going to feel it, all of those different things that we're taught, right? But where we want to go is the fourth level of consciousness. The fourth level of consciousness is listen and do. So it's wait for the information to come to you and you follow the guidance. And the fifth level of consciousness is when you are so in touch with the guidance that you actually move out of the listening and doing, and it's just you're just in the flow. There's no actual separation from consciousness and the intelligence that is guiding the consciousness. So now I'm going to show you how to tell the difference of what level of consciousness you're in. And this is really fun. Okay, so shut your eyes. And I want you to imagine a sunflower. And as you're imagining the sunflower, I want you to recognize what your body feels like. I want you to recognize the energy it takes to imagine the sunflower. I even want you to be aware of what your mind or your consciousness feels like in order to hold the focus of this sunflower. Okay, now open your eyes. Was everybody can visualize and see a sunflower? Okay.
Mhm.
All right, now you can't. Do you know are you able to know what a sunflower looks like though? So you can kind of go to the filing cabinet and, okay, so good enough. All right, now everybody shut your eyes again. I'm excited to see how this is for you. Okay, so now Just take in a deep breath, relax your body, and we're going to ask that the 12-strand DNA system, source frequency, release the frequency of a sunflower. And now you're going to allow that frequency to release and show you a sunflower. And I want you to recognize what your body feels like. Recognize how your consciousness may feel different. And you're moving into the experience of the sunflower. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. It's very fast.
Very fast. I felt it. Oh my gosh.
So that is the difference between being in the third level of consciousness and the fourth level of consciousness. In the fourth level of consciousness, you're allowing it to inform your consciousness, right? You had to wait and you had
Wow.
it in that quiet space. And then all of a sudden, you have some sort of an experience of what that frequency was. Does anybody want to talk about what they felt? What did you feel, Ashley?
Oh, my whole body was different. Like everything just kind of like, it was instant.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly. Anybody else? Share. I couldn't believe it. It was
Yeah,
exactly.
I felt really warm all right here and happy, really happy.
I love that.
I could feel like a lot of energy and like tingles like in my heart, and I could in my solar plexus, and then just like little tingles in my third eye too. So just feeling that like more of like an energetic like, and I felt like that's just what it actually feels like to be like present in my body. That's how I felt.
Love that. Did anybody feel like they became the sunflower?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because
We're all
I
like,
think,
yeah.
yeah, I think I was overthinking it, honestly. It's easy for me to visualize anything because I'm very visual. But then when you switched it, it was almost as if I was not seeing the real sunflower.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I guess I was in it. That's
Wow.
so weird. But I didn't feel like anything different because I think I live on the fourth level. I'm always listening and doing. I'm not on the fifth level. I'm not in the flow. I question too many things. I'm like, okay, am I doing it right? I don't know. Am I seeing the sunflower the right way?
Mm-hmm.
But it changed. Yeah, I love that. But I didn't feel different necessarily. I didn't. Anyway,
Deb, what
enough
about
about
you?
me.
No, not enough about you, but yes. Deb, what about you?
I'm in my head a lot. So I was like, oh, this guy, I don't know if it's working. I don't know if it's working. And so I started to see on the periphery of my vision the edge of the sunflower, but it was like I was the sunflower. And then pretty soon it felt like we were swaying in the wind. I, as this sunflower, swaying in the wind. So I didn't get really visual things. It was the sensation of, and the idea that came to me like, oh my gosh, I am the sunflower. Like I'm this little guy on a stalk experiencing this swaying in the wind. So it was very weird, but super cool.
Mm.
I feel like there wasn't the same way. I guess I don't really think about being a human. I felt like, I just felt like that's what it was. And it was very, kind of vibratory, pulsing, energy. And yeah, there was like, like maybe an emphasis on the sun, but because it's just like it's just, being human is just who we are. Like being that was just what it was. It didn't feel strange or foreign, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So that's it sounds like everybody had an experience, and there you could tell the difference. And the more that you practice it, the more you can start bringing it into other aspects of your life. So now we'll take that and bring it to manifestation. So whatever it is that you want your experience to be as we move into this activation, you're going to be the second sunflower. So you're going to allow the experience to inform your consciousness. So you're going to stay in that space. I call this a tuning consciousness, right? Because that's what's so powerful, is that when we start to ask questions, the frequency of the answer of the question will be released. And then it's up to us to match that frequency with our consciousness. So we can't do that with a programmed mind or with our imagination, because it creates interference. So just like if you think about tuning a piano, you know, you're doing the key and then you have the little tuner thing. I don't know what it's called, and you're matching the two so that they sound exactly the same. Well, you're going to attune your consciousness to the frequency. So if I want to heal my foot, release the frequency to heal my foot. Now we're not going to go and put our consciousness and we're going to make it happen. It's like, no, we're going to stay and allow that frequencies to show us what it is to heal our foot through the frequency of source. So we don't know that in the consciousness we're in, but the intelligence that's stored within us does. And that's why we always follow the frequency that's released. So I'm going to pull a couple of codes, and I would say everybody just kind of have their own intention. I think it'll just match whatever it is. And then I'll pull the codes and then I'll read them and then we'll do the activation. If you have a card, you can. If not, I'll hold up the code so it doesn't matter. You'll still receive. I think I'm going to do 4 codes. All right, so the first code is the 5. So this is the shift. So we're starting with the shift. And I always love it when it starts with a 5, because so often we want to wait for the guidance before we do anything, or we want to wait for the step-by-step process. And in this activation, it's going to actually put us in the shift first. So you could pertain this to, Kim, with your foot, is that it's going to take the timeline that your foot is right now and put it into a different timeline. You could say it's going to shift the frequency, the particles, however you want to see it. And then we have the 2, which is I kind of call it my smiley face. It was sad when I put it up, but it's the smiley face. But the 2 is the bridge, right? It's the bridge, it's the connection. So another way that we could read this is a shift in how we communicate or connect. And then we have the 8, which is abundance. It's it's a divine manifester. It's flow, synchronicities. And then I'll read the last one and then I'll put them all together. And then we have the 7. The 7 is, it opens up the channel of clear guidance. I call it the direct phone line to God. So it's like, you want to know? Oh, just call, just turn it on and you'll get the answer. So it opens up a direct communication. So now I'm going to put them together. So 5, the shift, 2, shifting how we communicate or connect. And let's see, what was the next one? Oh, connect. Okay, let me just feel into this. The shift of how we're connecting, how we're communicating, what it is to manifest. So the 7 is also that it's like teacher, it's like kind of like that student teacher. You know what I'm getting? Did you guys ever see that movie, The Giver? When it's like, for some reason that's coming in, where it's the transmission of intelligence. So it's that's what I'm getting with this 7. Okay, I'm just going to put it together. Kim, you can put this towards your healing, but I'm really getting that this is more higher consciousness. So it's a shift in consciousness of how we communicate or connect to our mind body reality that is moving into an open synchronicity of flow. So you can think consciousness in flow state. So in flow state, you're not really thinking, you're just in flow, right? And within flow, you're given the information or an intelligence, a clear guidance of what's outside your programming. So it's the ability to stay in that synchronicity flow, the shifting. If you think about the five, it's just be the change. So whatever is there, you don't resist it, you just kind of move into it. And then it allows connection to be experienced differently without attachment. It allows communication to be experienced differently. You only hear exactly what you need to hear. This could also be for UND, how you receive information in connection with others, that it moves into synchronicity and flow. And then the seven is always going to give you the information that you need to continue. I almost feel like I want to just do one more, because anytime it ends with a seven, I'm like, okay, don't leave us hanging. Okay. The nine. So the nine is the ability to master the matrix. And that's really what I was feeling here, is it's shifting consciousness kind of into the technology where everything begins to shift and you start to experience what I call the miracle pattern, or those little miracles, the flow state. And when interference comes in, that it's easily mastered, because if the guidance is there so that you can hold consciousness outside of the illusion, if that makes sense. Does anybody have any questions about the code? Okay, so if you have your copper card, go ahead and grab that. And for those of you that, if you have your Ormus there and you want to put a little on your pulse points, or even ingest a little, I think I have one in here. You definitely don't have to, but if you want to, I'm going to. Okay. All right, so let's just do a hands on heart. And if you have something very specific that you're wanting to work on, this is the invitation to just place it gently in your heart. And that's all you're doing, is you're putting that first frequency into that 0 point as source is intelligence is releasing from your DNA. And then just releasing it, knowing that it is there and now it is ready to activate and create this new software system, just uploading, advancing your technology to hold the frequency of this experience. And we'll start by just breathing in a white blue light, just allowing that light to trace along your brain, moving down to the base of your spine, and then just breathing it out. Attuning your spinal fluid, just preparing the body to move into a higher spin state. And as you breathe in again, just allowing that light to trace along the brain, moving to the base of the spine, and then into your heart space. Feeling that light as it enters your bloodstream. And then we'll activate the first code. If you have your card and would like to, go ahead and just place your finger on that first code of the 5. And if you don't have the card, you're just going to feel the code as it moves right into your pineal gland in the center of your mind and beginning to spin. And as it spins, it's activating every cell of your body, releasing that frequency of the shift. Just allowing your nervous system to move into that frequency of 963, where change becomes easy, graceful, joyful. And if there's something in your life that you're struggling to change, you can even allow the frequency to attune that. So you can just say in this moment, I am ready to change this. And then just allowing the code to attune any resistance around that change to the frequency or the expression of source. And just feeling your body as it begins to move into a higher vibrational state, as it begins to shift. All of the biophotons of your body are beginning to realign. Your quantum biology, the quantum field of your body. And then we'll activate the 2. Just feeling this code as it enters through the pineal gland, allowing it to spin as it activates every cell of your body, as it attunes what it is to connect, to communicate. It's even ascending your relationship with self, the connection that you have with the identity of how you see yourself, just allowing it to be informed by the frequency of source. Just feeling that frequency as it begins to realign your consciousness into a higher frequency or a higher perspective. Just staying in that space of allowing. Just having the experience from that second sunflower. And then we'll activate the 8. Feeling that code as it activates within the pineal gland. Turning on that frequency of a divine manifestation flow state, synchronicities, the magic. As it connects to those first 2 codes, allowing the shift and this connection to reality, to yourself, to your mind, the way you communicate, move into the synchronicities and flow. Just feeling that as it activates in every cell of your body. And then we'll activate the 7. Clear guidance. Just feeling this code as it activates in every cell of your body, opening you up as a divine channel of grace. Opening up the ability to listen and do. Clear, direct guidance. Feeling very clear, knowing that those divine yeses and the divine nos are very easy to navigate. Just feeling that frequency as it activates. And then we'll activate the 9, the master of the matrix. Feeling this frequency as it activates. And in this frequency, it attunes consciousness that all is divine. That is what it is to be a master of an illusion, is that you see the divine in all things. You experience your body as divine, your mind, holding the divine mind, seeing through the eyes of the divine, hearing the words of the divine, and feeling as the divine. What is it to feel divine love, divine joy? What is fear in the frequency of divine? Allow this code to attune your body and release that frequency so that you can have the experience through the intelligence of source. And then in that space, we'll just allow consciousness to attune, just matching the frequency of what is releasing in your body, knowing that it may take time for consciousness to understand what the frequency is. So, as all you have to do is recognize and have the experience. And then, if you'd like to go ahead and just bring your hands up, just with your palms facing forward, as we come together as a divine collective in this space, and just allowing this energy as the frequency is releasing from your DNA to amplify and intensify within this field, this source field. And then you can bring your hands back to your heart space. And just taking in one more deep breath. And then as you're ready, you can open your eyes. So before we get off, I just want to just throw one more little fun tidbit of like, what do you do with this now, right? So this is the way I want you to see it. So you just activated this frequency. You connected the frequency to an intention. And now you're going to see reality as your feedback. So everything is information from this point forward. It's the intelligence communicating to you. So where there's resistance, we don't resist it. We say, oh, interesting. There's resistance here. What do I prefer? And then you say, okay, I see this. I would like to experience it through the intelligence of source. Show me what that is. And then you're going to activate that frequency. And then you're going to shift to the perspective of what is beyond what you were able to see. And then this becomes using reality as an ascension tool, because it's always giving you the opportunity to not meet reality in the frequency of where we're observing from, but to see what's there and then create a choice of what can be possible. And so that's like a whole nother probably workshop, but uh, I, it is a fun way to kind of go and stay curious and open. Is that what is reality going to show me? And it allows you to stay in that attuning process a little bit longer than if we just go searching. Oh, did it work? Did it work? It's like, oh, now what is the feedback from this frequency that we just released? Thank you, Ashley.
Amazing. I love that. Amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. Anybody want to share anything or before we go? Oh, I just love that so much. Um if people need to reach you, I know I said it in our podcast, but do you want to share your book and all that stuff?
Yeah, the book is out, and we did hit the #1 bestseller. I don't think we're still #1, but it's a book, and then it also has a workbook that goes with it. And so it's Becoming Bioquantum is the name of the book, and it has a companion workbook that goes deeper into how to actually hold consciousness and what you're reading about in the book. So it's kind of a nice companion to that. I do have the Ormus book that will be coming out here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And then you can always just go to becomingbioquantum.com, because everything there, you can find the YouTube channel there, our community, our memberships, and all our event page. We have lots of free events. So if you go to the event page, you can see, I think the next one I have is, actually, I think next week we're doing a specific one on the copper card on the 23rd. And then on the 29th, I think, is what I call BioQuantum Unplugged, and you can come and we do like little mini healings and just some fun little interactive things. So those are our upcoming free events. Thank you
Oh.
for asking.
Oh, thank you so much. Anybody? Last call for any magic moments?
That was wonderful, Jewel. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing. I can't wait to start running on
I'm
my foot.
excited for you to start running. Put your Ormus on your foot and do that
Oh,
activation. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Does it work for somebody who never ran before?
I don't run. I don't run. That was a joke. I don't run.
You
Just
never know.
walking.
Don't limit yourself.
Just walking without pain, it would be amazing. So
And you, the next time we see you, Kim, you will not have that little thing you got
scar.
burnt,
No,
scar you
watch.
took.
It's going to put a little more on right now.
There you go.
4 times a day.
It's funny because Holly, who's on the call, does my facials. And we were talking about you, and I was telling her, well, she had listened to the podcast about how your ex-husband started putting on the cream and everyone thought he had a facelift. And it was just so, I don't know. When you look at all the things you have created to do what you've done, and what you just did to me tonight is like, I don't know, you've called me from the minute I heard you speak, so I don't even know where to go because I know everyone here knows that if I'm called if someone calls me or I remember you, that I have to share you. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm remembering you, and you are someone that I know I'll always be connected to because I want to share you with everyone. This is like, I can't tell you, even the people that came on this call tonight to hear you, it just makes my heart so full. So I can't, what it does for me, it's like, I can't even explain it. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your magic.
Thank you.
Thank you for receiving, and thank everyone for just holding this beautiful space. I've so enjoyed being here with you in this container. Thank you, Ashley, for holding this container. I mean, it's what you're doing is so amazing.
Oh, thank you. But thank
Thank you for the magic for both of you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Have a wonderful night at 6:30. What do you know? Or 9:30 or 7:30, whatever time. 8:30. Christine, are you 8:30? 7, 8? Yeah, you're 2 hours. Okay. Well, so good to see my soul sisters. I love you all.
Thank you.
That was so fun.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Ashley. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.